Today they meet the surprising Cleveland Indians, who sit atop the American League's Central Division. Been a rainy morning. It's still a very cold afternoon, but after a 2.5-hour delay, we are ready for baseball. The Angels and the Indians. And a pleasant good afternoon to you alongside Eric Karros and our entire Fox crew. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to Baseball on Fox. I guess today you could call it a pair of surprise teams. Certainly a surprise. The Angels have lost 14 of their first 20. And to many, it's a surprise that here we are nearly a month into the year, and the Indians are sitting atop the American League Central.
Well, you mentioned the Angels. Only one team in baseball has more losses than the Angels, and you never would have thought that. You know, their World Series predictions coming into the year, they just haven't hit. And Albert Pujols still looking for his first home run. On the other side, the Cleveland Indians, they've been playing well. They're a bunch of grinders, and as Asdrubal Cabrera, the all-star shortstop, 8-game hitting streak, hitting over 400, he's a big reason why they're atop the AL Central.
Well, it's what everybody's talking about in baseball, the struggles of Albert Pujols, wearing just the second different uniform he's ever donned in his major league career. Will today be the day he breaks that homerless drought? In Cleveland, they're saying no way. First pitch coming up next. See the temperature at 42 chilly degrees. It has been raining the entire day, but we're hoping that after the recent cell, as they call it, pass through, that we'll stay dry and get game 2 of this 3-game series in between the Angels and the Indians. Late last night, they were very busy on the Angels side. I'm sure that was not an easy conversation, parting with outstanding career it has been for Bobby Abreu. 18 years in the major leagues, so many great seasons, but they finally said the end is here. They released him last night.
You know, the bottom line for the Angels, they just don't have enough spots for guys to play. I mean, today, Vernon Wells on the bench, is Turris as well. You've got a lot of everyday players on this ball club, but there just aren't enough spots.
Well, in the Twitter world in which we live, Mark Trumbo, the second-year player had this to say, wishing all the best to Bobby Abreu, first-class teammate on and off the field. I feel fortunate to have gotten to play alongside, and I'm sure that's the sentiments of many of these Angels. We'll tell you more about the man who's going to replace him on the roster. And many of you out in Southern California have certainly heard all about Mike Trout. And here's the Angels starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live. Trout leads off and plays left field. Howie Kendrick at second. Albert Pujols at first base. Morales the DH. Tory Hunter in right. Trumbo at third. Ibar at short. Bobby Wilson gets a rare start behind the plate. And Peter Borges dropped to the number 9 spot in the batting order. And they'll be facing a talented 24-year-old right-hander in Genmar Gomez, who won the spot in the rotation coming out of spring training.
Yeah, he's really thrown well, especially early on in this season. I know it's not a huge sample size, but you look at it. He's got 2 starts. I think what's important, that ERA at 1.9, opponent's batting average 125. And here it is, the scouting report. You just don't want to wake up Pujols. You know he's going to get going at some point. You just hope it when you are not throwing. Keep slide. Gomez has added a different grip to his slider this year. Manny Acta telling us before the game it's allowed him to be much more effective and given him a secondary pitch, which has given him a lot of success.
Our opening pitch brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud. Well, for Gomez, he has only pitched 1 time in the last 2 weeks. Many of you may remember back against Kansas City on the 14th, after Sin-Soo Choo had been hit for a 2nd straight year by Jonathan Sanchez. The very next inning, Genmar Gomez drilled a Kansas City Royal, and he was immediately thrown out of the game. And so with that in mind, he made a start 7 days later after being given a 5-day suspension. So here he is after serving it. And it's strike 1 to the heralded youngster, Mike Trout. Brought up from AAA Salt Lake, and look at those numbers. 403 batting average, 13 knocked in, and already in double figures in extra base hits. Fly ball into short right field. Coming on to get it, Aaron Cunningham, and that's out number 1. Take a look at Cleveland defensively, brought to you by Scott's. Still juggling that outfield. Shelley Duncan and Cunningham on the corners. Michael Brantley in center. Very good defensively in the infield, especially Hanahan and Kochman. Santana and Gomez, the battery. Howie Kendrick at 260, a pair of home runs and 7 runs batted in. Well, no matter how you look at it, offense has clearly been the problem. And the struggles are really almost beyond belief at how bad the Angels have been on offense. In 11 of their 20 games, they've scored 3 runs or less, and they've not won any of those games. 0-11 when they failed to score more than 3 runs.
And this is a team that was really built around starting pitching and their offense. And the way they played in spring, you just thought that they'd roll right out of the gate and get going. But it's been a collective effort as far as not being able to get going offensively. Outside of Tory Hunter and Mark Trumbo, nobody, and I mean nobody, has swung the bat well.
And now the 3-1 offering is low, and there's a rare walk for these Angels. I mean, it's one thing to not be hitting. It's another thing when you rarely ever take a walk. So here comes Albert Pujols. Pujols signed to the whopping 10-year contract that spent his entire career, of course, with the St. Louis Cardinals, coming off winning a World Series title a year ago. The only player in Major League history who in each of his first 11 seasons has hit 30 or more home runs. Yet Pujols has not hit a single home run for the Angels to begin this year. And perhaps the most staggering illustration of how badly he's going right now. Last night in a 2-2 game with first base open and the go-ahead run at second base, they pitched to Albert Pujols and got him to foul out to end the inning. All the years, Eric, you and I have been watching a lot of National League baseball. Somebody asked me, when's the last time that happened in a National League game? I guarantee you it's been 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah, I don't remember it ever happening. And the point is, you get a guy and he's down, you keep him down. And mentally right now, Albert Pujols is struggling. So don't give him any confidence by giving him that respect. Keep going after him.
1-2.
You know, you look at Pujols right now, 2 strikes on him again. He's had 80 at-bats this year. In 44 of those 80 at-bats, he's had 2 strikes on him. You just can't hit like that consistently.
2 for his last 26 is Pujols. And not only the homerless drought to begin this season, 20 games to start a year is the longest of his major league career and the longest stretch since a 27-game drought a year ago. But he has not knocked in a single run in the last 11 games.
Well, I think more than anything, this illustrates how difficult hitting is. You're talking about Albert Pujols, arguably the best hitter in baseball in the last 30, 40 years. And yet, for this month-long stretch, he looks as bad as anybody. And that is the mental part of the game. That is such an impactful part that you really can't explain it. You can only experience it.
2-2 to Pujols. Kendrick over at first with 1 out. And he fouls it away to stay alive.
I mean, you can do all of the hitting in the cages, all of the batting practice, watch all of the videos, spend all the time you want with hitting coach Mickey Hatcher. The only remedy is getting some base hits and hitting a ball hard in the game.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Albert Pujols. 1 on and 1 out. Quick throw down to first, and Kendrick saw it coming all the way. Three and 2 the count. Do you start a runner here with Kendrick? 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. As anemic as this offense has been, you got to count on Pujols making contact. You got to put him in motion.
Three and 2 the count. Runner not going, and it's lined into left center field off the end of the bat. A base hit, and easily going first to third is Kendrick. So Pujols didn't hit it hard, but he'll take whatever he can get right now, and that's a base hit to put him on the corners.
Yeah, not hit very well, but hit off the end of the bat, out in front of an off-speed pitch, and he gets it over the shortstop's head. You know, a little surprised that Mike Scioscia didn't start Howie Kendrick there. Albert Pujols, gone 8 straight years, 20 or more ground into double plays. And again, when you are struggling, this is when you got to force the issue, make things happen, be aggressive.
That'll bring up Kendrys Morales, who has come all the way back, of course, from that horrific injury back in 2010, a broken left ankle, requiring multiple surgeries. So much rehab. Of course, he suffered that broken ankle jumping into home plate in a celebration of a walk-off grand slam. Still hard to believe that this actually happened the way it did.
Yeah, you know, and the ironic thing, I was calling that game that day for Fox, and we just thought that he was getting mobbed and they were jumping on him, but then when they brought the stretcher out, we knew there were problems.
Morales missed all of last season. They thought they'd have him back. It did not happen. But once he showed up in spring training, he truly believed that he was going to be okay to play. They've been very tentative about, what he was able to do during the spring in terms of running the bases. And there's a bouncing ball, knocked down by the second baseman, but rolls into right field. Everybody's safe, and it's a 1-0 Angels lead. So here comes Tory Hunter. Hunter, a good start to this series last night in the third inning defensively. He's been doing that for years and years. Guns down as Screwball Cabrera at home. Then in the very next half inning, a home run off Justin Masterson. But has been the case so frequently here through the opening month of the year. The Angels score very little. Had a 2-0 lead. Got great starting pitching from Jared Weaver. But then the bullpen came in. A bullpen that so far this year has 6 blown saves and an 0-9 record. Quickly 0-2 on Tory Hunter.
Right, you mentioned the bullpen and the struggles the Angels have had. And granted, they have struggled. But on the flip side, the offense is not giving them any room to work with. They've got to be so fine each and every time they go out. And they just haven't.
Two on, 1 in, 1 out. And Gomez to the plate. Struck him out swinging, 2 out in the inning. So now Mark Trumbo. Trumbo getting a rare start today at third base. He played there 3 times early in the year. Went 9 days between starts, and now has had another extended period of time before going back to third, and he might be getting there more regularly now that Mike Trout has arrived to play in the outfield.
Well, and I think that's something that Mike Scioscia is looking for, as far as he'd like to have a regular lineup and just put guys in certain spots and just roll with it. But so far his club hasn't allowed him to do that because they haven't been able to perform. Trumbo, if he is going to play third at the big league level, you put him out there and you run him out there every single day.
2 on, 2 out, and it's in the air. This should end the inning. Cabrera the call, Cabrera the catch. But the Angels score. 1 run on a couple of hits in strand 2, and here come the Tribe when we return. Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live mas. Michael Brantley, Jeff Kipnis, Asdrubal Cabrera under manager Manny Acton. Travis Hafner, the DH, off to a good start. Carlos Santana, the catcher. Jack Hanahan at third. The latter third of Shelley Duncan. Former Angel Casey Kochman and Aaron Cunningham against one of the best and certainly one of the most durable pitchers in all of baseball, Dan Haren.
Yeah, hasn't had a lot of luck yet this year. You mentioned no wins, and in 3 of his 4 starts, he's left with the lead. And how are we going to break down Dan Haren? For him to be successful, he's got to expand the zone. He needs the Cleveland hitters to offer at pitches that are off of the plate. His out pitch, forkball, splitter, whatever you want to call it, that's where the stick and a fork in him. You got 2 strikes, be looking for it if you're a Cleveland hitter.
Michael Brantley without a home run, 5 runs batted in, and a .232 batting average. Takes Lowe inside, 2 balls and a strike. Jam shot, foul ball out of play. Brantley came over in the CC Sabathia deal from the Milwaukee Brewers. In fact, he is the only player that is on the major league club for Cleveland from that trade. Matt Laporta still in the minor leagues. Brantley got a chance to play regularly last season, but about the middle of the year broke a bone in his hand. Came back, played in 14 games, and then they decided it's time for surgery, and they're hoping a healthy Brantley, among others in this Cleveland lineup, will go a long way in being able to finish strong, not just start strong. That ball hit hard in a diving attempt out there by Trout. 2 bases, and Brantley will stop right there.
Well, you see, Brantley just shoots this ball to left field. Lets it travel in on him. Now, Trout, I'm not so sure needs to be diving in that situation. That's that youthful over-aggressiveness, a lot of adrenaline going on right there. Because of his speed, he's able to run the ball down, keep him to a double. If he rounds that ball off, he's got a shot at keeping Brantley at first base and for a single.
Kipnis looks at a first pitch fastball in there, strike 1. Kipnis made his major league debut last July, struggled initially, and boy did he ever take off, and they're very excited about having him at second base on an opening day roster for the first time.
Well, in Kipnis, he's a grinder. He's not going to wow you with his athletic ability or his skills, but every day comes out, he plays hard, works the count, gets hits when you need them. You know, if anything, he just needs experience. He needs to feel like he belongs, and that's what Manny Acta told us before the game. He's got a lot of guys, good guys, youthful guys, but they still need to believe that they can play and be successful at the big league level. Here's Manny.
Acta deciding not to ask Kipnis to bunt. So now Jason waits. And that fly ball to short left center field is not going to advance a runner on the third. Well, there's one away in the inning. Let's take a look at the Angels defensively, presented by Scott's. Well, they got some guys that can go get him in that outfield. Starting with Borges in center. Trumbo, new to the third base position. Pujols, of course, in his first year with the Angels. Kendrick and Ibar back up the middle. And Bobby Wilson doesn't get many starts, but he's in there today. Asdrubal Cabrera comes in with an 8-game hitting streak. 15 hits in his last 37 at-bats. But jammed on the first pitch. And by not advancing the runner, Cleveland now needs a 2-out hit to bring in a run. Of course, they've been scoring a lot of runs this year with 2-out base hits.
Well, they really have. They've had good at-bats when they've needed them. This is a team that's very patient at the plate. As Trumbo Cabrera swings at the first pitch in this last at-bat, but they like to work the count. They lead the American League in walks by plenty, almost 20. So they are a disciplined team.
We welcome many of you around the country who are just tuning in. Just underway after 2.5-hour rain delay here in Cleveland. Along with Eric Karros and our entire Fox crew, I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon from Cleveland, Ohio. Travis Hafner, healthy to begin this 2012 year. 321 batter, 10 knocked in, has walked a whopping 17 times already.
And he's key for this ball club. I mean, there's probably 2 or 3 guys that you just cannot afford to lose. Hafner's one of them. As Trumbo Cabrera at short, and the closer, Chris Perez.
From 2003 to 2007, Hafner hit 140 home runs. Averaged 32 homers, over 100 runs batted in per year. Since then, over the last 4 years, has hit a total of 47 home runs. It all began with a shoulder injury back in 2008. Right at Borges, and Haren pitches around a leadoff double. End of 1. Angels lead by 1. Highway miles per gallon, and by the Snap spreader system from Scott's. Feed your lawn. Feed it. Well, there are a lot of folks in this part of the country that started feeding that lawn and planting flowers and all that kind of thing after a great winter. And now all of a sudden, like many parts of the country, the winter is finally hit for the first time in April. Angels lead 1-0. Eric Ibar, 7, 8, 9 here against Genmar Gomez.
This is another guy, Tommy, offensively that got to put the ball in play. Struck out 13 times. Got to get on base. Under a 300 on base percentage. That's what we talked about. Everybody's focusing on Pujols. The reality is it's up and down the lineup. Just struggle outside of Trumbo and Hunter.
2-2. And hook to the right side. Playable for Kochman, one of the most sure-handed defenders at the first base position. And time now for our Ford keys to the game. You have been very, very busy putting this together, especially that first one.
Yeah, that was about as cerebral as I could get, coming up with score for the Angels. And that just, you can't put it any more plain.
You're right.
You can't dissect it anymore. Offensively, they just got to get going. For the Indians, they did a great job last night of working the pitch count with Jared Weaver, and he was out in the 6th inning. They got to the bullpen, as you mentioned earlier, Tommy, 1 for 7 in save opportunities this year. There's Mr. Weaver, threw a great ball game, staying warm.
0-1 the count on Bobby Wilson. That's off the end of the bat in the air to the left side of the infield. And Cabrera there. Eric, you were a guy who grew up in California, grew up in San Diego, if I recall correctly, Patrick Henry High School. But let me ask you in all seriousness, you played for a while as well with the Cubs and played in some very cold weather. How did you feel about playing in this kind of weather?
Didn't like it at all. Did not like it one bit. Especially when you're running up against guys that run the ball in on your hands. Just not a lot of fun hitting. Not only does it hurt if you don't square it up, but for the most part, the ball is not going to travel well. Just, you can't wait for those real hot days.
2 down in the inning, and now Borges. He looks at a fastball, strike 1. Here's another guy. It's straight up and down the lineup. Eric just said it. Now, clearly, all the conversation has been about Pujols. That run in the first inning was only the 10th run in the first inning the Angels have scored this year. Borges grew up around baseball. His father, Chris, a longtime scout from Scottsdale, Arizona, is Peter. He's in his 2nd full year as the Angels starting center fielder and just turned 25 years young. Crowd waiting with 2 down and none on. Inning is over. Santana, Hanahan, and Duncan coming up with the Indians down a run. Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Those two fellas right there grabbing a few buds.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they're enjoying themselves out there. I don't know if that's got to be drinking that to keep you warm.
That's a Buckeyes fan right there, big boy.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. They're fired up for the arrival of one Urban Meyer. Out away by Carlos Santana.
See, he's got that ankle guard on and doesn't do much good there as it hits him off the foot. I'm sure that feels good. This nice warm weather we're featuring today.
Santana, a very good eye at the plate. He's one of those guys who might have a low batting average, but he makes a pitcher work. He's reached base safely in all 16 games this year, either a hit or a walk. And make no mistake, they believe he is capable of putting up some huge numbers. He had a big breakout year finally a season ago.
Okay, and you saw the on-base percentage over 400. He's leading the American League in walks. And see, even on that pitch, he takes that pitch and sells it to the umpire as that being way inside. That pitch looked like it got a good part of the plate. Now watch this. Look at that. That comes over the inner half of the plate. But there is an art to selling a pitch to the umpire by the way you take it. And remember, Frank Thomas used to play for the Chicago White Sox. Great slugger. If you threw anything on the inner part of the plate, he was jumping back. Umpire would call it a ball.
Struck him out to begin the second inning. The judiciary for this Saturday afternoon. Fielding Colbert calls the balls and strikes. Adrian Johnson at first. Gary Cederstrom out at second base. He's a crew chief. There's Gary. And Jim Wolf down at third. First strikeout of the game for Dan Haren, and here comes Jack Hanahan. Hanahan, one of those guys you referred to. You know, it's an old term, but one that aptly describes a player like Hanahan. He's a grinder. A lot of seasons in the minor leagues trying to make his way to the big league level. And once he got here, he did all right for the Indians last year and then had to go win the job outright in spring training again this year. Hammered down the right field line, hooking foul.
Well, he's the type of guy that's going to have to continually prove himself year after year. Nobody's just going to give him a job. Nobody's going to say, oh, all right, you got that position, it's yours. He has to go out and earn it every single year, and he's the type of player that's accepted that. Here he is over into his 30s and still has to win a job every year.
Last August, Hanahan and his wife, Jenny, had a son, Johnny, who was born 2 months premature. Very, very scary. As you parents out there could certainly imagine, they didn't know if Johnny was going to make it initially. All his teammates kicked in the money because the last commercial flight had gotten out of Boston and he couldn't afford to get a private plane, so his teammates got him one to get back there for the birth. Well, once they knew that child was going to be okay, he was batting .213 at the time. He hit .368 the rest of the way. Two. Haren wanted the call for a second time in this inning and didn't get it. Chase to pitch up, hits it straight up. 2 out. It's MLB on Fox season. Fox Sports is so proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth reach their full potential as caring, responsible, productive citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox. Fox Sports. Two down, 1-0 Angels lead. First pitch swinging is Duncan, rolls over one to short, and Haren takes care of business in 1-2-3 fashion. From Cleveland, presented by Chevrolet. And we begin the third inning. Angels scored in the first. A one-out walk to Howie Kendrick. A broken bat single by Albert Pujols, and then an infield hit by Kendrys Morales to bring in Kendrick. The only run for either team. Gomez coming off a 1-2-3 second. Mike Trout, just 20 years old.
Well, and he comes up just to add a spark. If people are going to expect him to solve all the issues, that's putting an awful burden on this young man's shoulders.
Chase that pitch a foot outside. He's gone on strikes. And right now, let's go to our old buddy Matt Vasgersian for a DirecTV game room.
Hey, Tommy, for those that missed the end of the Milwaukee-St. Louis game, the World Series champs made it 4 out of 5 against Milwaukee this year. Skip Schumacher doubles in a pair late to seal it. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Back to the extended stay duo of Tom and Eric.
Well, we really are. You know, Matt, every time I do a game with Karros, we're in a rain delay. And I thought he was bringing California sunshine with us to the heartland.
Yeah, 2 for 2 now. We had a rain delay a couple weeks ago.
Yep. 2 hours, 2.5 today. So when we reconvene in Chicago in a couple of weeks, we'll be starting at 10 o'clock at night. That'll be during our prime time slate. Right here on Fox. It'll get underway in the middle of May and run all the way until July, and we can't wait for that. Great matchups, great venues.
Prime time games. Looking forward to it. Gomez, you know, coming into this game, only 1 walk this year. Kendrick, he walked in the first inning, behind 3-0 now. You know, and that's something you really don't want to do with this ball club right now. The Angels, the way they're not swinging the bat, can't give them any free passes.
3-1 to Kendrick. And he swings, and this should be an infield hit, and it will be. That's a do-or-die play for Hanahan. I'm not even sure if he picks it up on the short hop, it'll get Kendrick.
Well, the minute he pounds that ball into the ground, Hanahan has no choice but to just basically come in and kind of throw his glove at it and hope it ends up in there. But as you said, Tommy, I don't think he throws him out anyhow.
Pujols, a broken bat single off the end of the bat that flared over the shortstop Cabrera's head, but a hit nonetheless. We said it at the time. The way things have been going for Albert and this Angels team, you'll take them any way you can get them.
And when you are struggling, it just seems like you're always 0-2 or 1-2. Or the pitches that are strikes are on the corner. And you saw that note right there. You know, as bad as he's been, to his standards, he's been on base every single game. You know, and remember last year, Tommy, in St. Louis, in the month of April, Pujols hit .245. Ended up finishing strong, had another solid year.
Right down the middle of fastball for a strike. It's been 81 at-bats this season to begin this year without a home run for Pujols. There you see the first 54 games last year, which included the 27-game stretch he went without a home run. But boy, did he ever turn it up, leading the Cardinals to the title. Got to believe a lot of it's pressure he's putting on himself, don't you think?
I don't think there's any question. I mean, nobody wants it worse than he does. He wants to fulfill people's expectations. He wants to come over and do well. And hitting is difficult when everything is great. But nothing worse when you're constantly thinking about, I've got to get a hit. I've got to do this. I've got to do that.
Runner goes. And a ground ball to short. They'll avoid the double play. But Pujols is thrown out. Kendrick to second, 2 away in the inning.
Now at bat for Los Angeles, designated hitter Henry Morales.
Morales had a run-scoring single that trickled through the right side in the opening inning, accounting for the game's only run. The only full season Morales played in the major leagues was the year before the injury in 2009. And boy, what a year he had. 34 home runs, over 100 knocked in. And was on his way to another monster year in 2010 when he suffered that injury.
Yeah, you know, I'm not so sure that the Angels were really counting on him this year. I think they were hoping. But then when he started to play in spring training, swung the bat as if he had not missed a single day, then they become excited. And it's also created a bit of a logjam. You know, we talked about at the top of the show, Bobby Abreu being released. They have so many guys that are everyday players that need to get at bats. You know, it's made Mike Scioscia's job a bit more difficult.
2-0 on Morales, runner at second. It snaps in there on a breaking ball, a called strike. Well, not only that, but also when you're throwing into the mix that you really have not committed Trumbo. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that he had surgery on a foot during the offseason. So even though they had signed Pujols and he knew and was told he was going to go to third base, he was limited physically to what he could do to get a jump start on that position. And he's been bouncing all over the place, outfield, infield.
Well, that's what I'm surprised as well as he's done hitting-wise. And I'm speaking about Trumbo, just because he has bounced around. Little first, little third, some corner outfield. You know, asking him to learn a position at the big league level.
3-1 the count. Backing up on it is Kochman, and the underhand feed to the covering Gomez ends the inning. A man left. Still 1-0 Haren and the Angels. We go here in Cleveland, Ohio, and Dan Haren on the mound. A first pitch breaking ball to Casey Kochman is in there, a strike. Kochman originally a #1 pick of the Angels. Be followed by Aaron Cunningham and then Michael Brantley. Kochman off to a rough start as well. Just 9 hits and 61 at bats. Leo Maniac, the manager, told us before the game today, this guy might have ugly offensive numbers, but he's not going anywhere. He has saved us already this year many, many runs with his defense. One out. Well, later tonight, NASCAR on Fox heads to Richmond, Virginia. Defending champion Kyle Busch leading the pack in the chase for the checkered flag. Fox Sports proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing live from Richmond International Raceway. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And there's strike one to Aaron Cunningham. Cunningham spent last season with San Diego. And he lifts one right at Tory Hunter. Quickly 2 away here in the Cleveland third.
Dan Haren has started off extremely well. 9 for 9 first pitch strikes, not allowing this Cleveland offense, as they take a lot of pitches, to get ahead in the count. Strike after strike, putting the guys on the defensive. Not helping his offense much, but doing wonders for his defense.
Brantley, the only base runner of the game so far for the Indians against Dan Haren. He doubled down the left field line, leading off the first inning.
There you go. There's your first ball to a first pitch to a hitter.
Comes right back with a fastball and it's fouled away. Haren 107 wins in his major league career against just 85 losses and a career earned run average of right around 3.5. Well, we talked about durability. Leads all major leaguers with 241 starts going back to the beginning of 2005. Impeccable control. One hopper down to first, and Albert will take it to the bag in a 1-2-3 third. Still 1-0 Angels. Sometimes you gotta live Moss, and by the new 2013 Ford Taurus. I want to thank Eric Karros for interpreting for our entire crew that Moss means more in Espanol. Thank you.
I thought I was helping with the English version of live. That's what I was doing.
Tory Hunter struck out his first time up. You know, major league coaches, we talk about it all the time. The hours these guys put in every single day over the course of the year. And you know, the managers, you know, they get kicked around when the team's playing badly. They get pumped up when the team's playing great. And the same thing happens to pitching coaches and hitting coaches primarily. And, you know, of late, Mickey Hatcher's heard a lot of it. That one blasted into right field, and Mickey will celebrate that home run. The other way for Tory Hunter. So after going the entire year until last night without a home run, Tory is homered in back-to-back games.
Well, he's been one of the few consistent hitters all year so far for the Angels. You know, just in the last couple of days starting to drive the ball with power. That ball going out to right field, too, especially in this weather, this cold. You got to really get a hold of it.
And, of course, there must be something about that fourth inning. We showed you earlier. That's when he hit his home run here last night, his first of the year. were talking about Mark Trumbo earlier. Has started 6 straight games at 6 straight positions. 6 different positions. Designated hitter, left fielder, third base, first base, right field, and now back at third again.
Well, and as a young player, that's tough to come to the park every day. You've got to look at the lineup. You got to see, now where am I? Oh, there I am. Oh, now what position am I playing? You know, now is it better than not playing at all? Absolutely. But it's just something else that you've got to mentally prepare. I'm playing the outfield today. I'm playing third base. Oh, I haven't played that much third base. Oh, goodness, I'm playing first base. I like that spot. Oh, I got a hit today, too?
Well, you brought up earlier, Mickey Hatcher, the hitting coach, has to be happy with what he's seen, especially lately out of Tory Hunter, but pretty consistent when you're coming in hitting over 300 for nearly 4 weeks of baseball. Likewise for Trumbo. A strikeout, however, here, and we caught up with Mickey in between innings and asked him, you know, has it been as tough as it seems?
It's been tough, but you know, these guys have been great, and you know, there's been a lot of good sessions here lately with these guys and talking about what's going on and mainly our problems and especially our approach at the plate. And those are things that really need to be talked about, not as individuals, but as a team. And, you know, we've got to be consistent with how pitchers are pitching us right now. And we've got to see more pitches, and these guys are trying to commit that today, getting out there, seeing more pitches. The pitches that kill us the most are when we get in hitters' counts. Pitchers expand the zone at us, and we just got to learn to be patient no matter what, and it will pay off.
Mickey, do you spend more time now as team psychologist, or do you spend more time as a guy down in the cage working on mechanics?
Well, their mechanics are easy. These guys, they go about it right. Their batting practices are great. What happens is it becomes mental. These guys know we got a great team, and it's just not going to walk out on their field and happen. And we've got to make some adjustments, especially at the plate.
Well, we thank Mickey Hatcher for catching up with us in between innings. That is ruled an error on the second baseman, Jason Kipnis. And so Ibar aboard with 1 out and 1 in. Angels leading 2-0. Ball 1 to Bobby Wilson.
Bobby Wilson getting the start today. The regular Chris Ionetta getting the day off.
For the catching last year, offensively speaking, for the Angels, they felt like they certainly had to do something at that position. There's one, and Kipnis having a hard time today. Committed an error a moment ago, and that should have been an inning-ending double play. He couldn't find the handle.
Well, you see, he gets it to Kipnis, and he just can't get rid of it. You know, it's not as if Ibar came in hard to take him out, stepped back, and it just appeared like he didn't have a grip. Again, this weather cold out there today. Ball can be slippery because it's so cold.
Peter Borges looks at a breaking ball down and away. Well, you saw Kipnis looking down at his glove there a minute ago and doing a little work on it right now. Read a story not too long ago about Jack Hanahan. He has used the same glove since 2002. And the only time he ever uses it is in the game. No more batting practice. No more taking ground balls before a game. The same glove for now an 11th year. That one gets away from Santana. And Wilson able to advance on to second base.
See Santana trying to backhand that instead of shuffling his feet and just smothering the ball. But Bobby Wilson, not that fleet of foot, but when it gets that far away, gets easily into second base. See Santana frustrated with himself.
And it is scored a pass ball on Santana. So the Angels with a runner in scoring position trying to add to a 2-0 lead here in the fourth. Boy, Borges keeps chasing that breaking ball and keeps missing it by a foot.
Well, and it looks like that's that slider that Gomez has this year that has more depth on it. When you talk about depth, sometimes sliders stay on the same plane. They're at the same level. Well, this one breaks and it breaks down.
Same pitch, inning over. But a home run by Tory Hunter puts the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim up 2-0. Begin the bottom of the fourth inning. Angels 2, Indians nothing. 2 runs and 4 hits. For LA, no runs, only 1 base runner for the Tribe against Dan Haren. 2-0 to Jason Kipnis. Kipnis flying out to the left fielder Trout his first time up. And that's when he came up with a runner at second and nobody out and failed to advance a runner. Bring you an update. Good weekend series between the Tigers and the Yankees. And that one is laced into right center field. A base hit for Jason Kipnis. All right, as promised, to DirecTV Game Break, we go to Matt Vasgersian.
Tommy, Freddie Garcia perhaps working for his spot in the rotation. The Yankees pitch around Prince Fielder to get to Andy Dirks. That's a friendlier matchup for the struggling right. Oh, maybe not. Gets him for a 3-run shot. Detroit trying to win for just the second time in their last 9 games. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Tommy, back to you and Eric.
You see Swish climbing the wall on that? I mean, what's he climbing the wall to see how far over the fence it goes, or does he think he's got a shot at it? What is that?
You know what?
No, what?
I think we'd have to ask Mr. Swisher because we're not sure what might come out of his mouth. Saw somebody else do that the other night. You're thinking, well, where are they going? Cabrera came in, as we mentioned, with a 6-game hitting streak. He was on the bereavement list, which really was a nice addition in the collective bargaining agreement between baseball and the owners. You have a death in the family or something very unsettling, health issue, whatever it might be, rather than having to either leave the team shorthanded or not go on the disabled list for a full 15 days under sad circumstances. But Cabrera had to leave the club and has missed 6 games, but has picked up right where he left off.
He really has. He had the game-winning hit last night. And as you mentioned, 8-game hitting streak.
This guy really had the kind of year last year that pretty much came out of nowhere. They believe Cabrera is going to be a good player. I'm not sure anybody saw 25 home runs and 92 runs batted in coming. Never been that kind of a hitter coming up through the minor leagues. 3-2.
Manny acted, though, telling us prior to the game he's developed into that type of hitter, and he is a guy that, look, if he goes down, it's going to be a long year because he is a cornerstone here.
Signed a 2-year contract extension. Just recently did Cabrera. They signed Carlos Santana to a 5-year deal. Of course, the Indians were the first team to really start that trend, which some other clubs have followed under their longtime general manager John Hart. Back when they were building some of those powerhouse clubs in the mid-90s. Runner goes, dribbled foul.
Yeah, a lot of those guys in the mid-90s, they signed them to multi-year deals, bought out their arbitration years. There were guys like Carlos Baerga and Kenny Lofton, or Mark Whitten when he was here. You know, and then it evolved into some of the guys as they came on. You know, the Jim Thomes and Manny, yep.
3-2. There's ball 4. And the Indians will do that. Despite playing fewer games than some other teams right there with them in the thick of taking a walk, they have drawn more walks than any team in the league. That is the 98th walk they have drawn this year. And in contrast, the Angels have walked 52 times.
Well, you talk about the walks, and that is something measurable right there. But what I've been impressed with so far in this game, we talked about Dan Haren being right around the plate. He's thrown a number of pitches that have been a couple inches off the inside or outside, and the Indians haven't offered. And that just goes to illustrate how disciplined a team this is offensively.
There's Travis Hafner. That's off the corner, ball 1. Well, the Cleveland Indians have been better this season as they have emphasized more patience at the plate. And that is brought to you by Mazda. Better, stronger, smarter. Talked about the right shoulder injury that slowed down Hafner over the last 4 years. That occurred back in 98 or 08, I beg your pardon. See, the Indians came racing out of the gate with a long ball. But they have not homered in their last 9 games, and that ties a franchise record. Hafner trying to change that right now. That almost hit him. 2-2.
Right now in this count, this is where Dan Haren, if you're a hitter, you got to expect that split finger pitch right now. It's a ground ball situation. It's a ball that dives out of the zone. It looks like it's a strike. If you're Hafner up there, you got to be looking for that pitch and make sure that Haren gets it up.
2-1, nobody out. 2-2 pitch. And that ball is laced into left field, but room out there for Trout. And the runners stay put. Summertime, that ball is going to carry a little better. We've seen a lot of games in this ballpark. If you get something in the air to left and left center field, it will fly out of here.
It really will, and especially with that high wall. It's almost conducive as a left-handed hitter to let the ball travel deep and try and shoot it off that wall.
Now Santana. He had a devastating knee injury of his own back at Fenway Park in August of 2010. And all he did in 2011 was become the first Cleveland catcher ever to have 25 or more home runs, 30 or more doubles, 90 or more walks. You know, his last 2 years, though, Eric, have been very, very odd. He's a switch hitter. In 2010, he couldn't buy a hit against left-handed pitching, and he ate up right-handed pitching. Last year, a complete flip-flop.
You know, and not sure that there is a real reason for that, other than it might be one of those anomalies that, hey, that year things just fell in for you facing left-handed pitching. But the one thing he's a guy that gets on base.
0-2 the count on Santana. And he is gone swinging. Again, let's check in at the MLB Network studios for a game break. Here's Matt Vasgersian.
Hey, Tommy, 2-out runner in scoring position, bottom of the first for Twitter sensation Brandon Phillips out to Jordan Schaefer, and that's how the Reds open the scoring against Houston. A 2-0 lead for Johnny Cueto. Back to you guys.
Brandon Phillips has been bothered with a bad hamstring, forced him to miss 5 games. He's been playing hurt, but apparently they're running a little better right there. Now Hanahan. Ball 1 high. The Indians have been very good 2-out hitters. And their best hitter with runners in scoring position is this guy right here. Now it banged into right field. They're going to wave around the runner. The throw will go into third. And a 2-out RBI by Hanahan cuts the lead in half. It's 2-1.
You mentioned it, Hanahan coming into today's game, hitting .438 with runners in scoring position. He shoots this ball to right field. Tory Hunter, he comes up and the angle, it looks like he's going to throw home, but the last minute he decides to shoot the ball to third and keep that runner from going to third base. Tory made a nice play last night, threw a runner out at home.
Shelley Duncan grounded to short, his only at bat. Tying run at second, lead run at first. 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Tying run out there is Asdrubal Cabrera. Well, if anybody ought to know about not running on Tory Hunter's arm, it's him, because he was a guy you alluded to a moment ago was thrown out of the plate last night.
Here's the Gold Glove winner.
9 times. Really, really good player for a long time.
Yep.
I think great is an overused word. Well, he's been really good for a long time. Good base running by the Indians. As soon as that pitch wound up in the dirt, Cabrera takes off. Hanahan saw him go, so he does the same. Wild pitch on Haren. So now base hit could give Cleveland its first lead of the game. And Haren visibly out on the mound, either getting upset with himself or for the first time starting to show a lot of frustration with the home plate umpire.
Well, I think he's frustrated with the home plate umpire fielding Colbrook, because there have been a number of balls today just off the plate or even probably catching the plate that he has not got the call.
26 pitch in this inning. Called strike.
Well, it doesn't necessarily hit the target, but it looks like it is a strike. Duncan really struggling this year with runners in scoring position, hitting at a 176 clip. You know, this is a spot too where Haren, he's got first base open, so you don't have to lay that pitch right down the middle, 3-2. You can still go with the splitter. You can throw the cutter, throw the two-seamer. I mean, he can do anything he wants here.
Rung him up, and that'll end the inning. Cleveland on the board. 2-1, we go to the fifth. A 2-1 Angels lead. And Jenmar Gomez. This is ball one, top of the order for the Angels. Mike Trout just brought up from the minor leagues after the game last night. To be followed by Howie Kendrick and then Albert Pujols. In the air. Who wants it? Kipnis in foul ground, one out. We certainly want to thank Derek Lowe. He'll be starting the game tomorrow here, the series finale against Urban Santana, for joining us down in the dugout. I asked you, Derek, you're all bundled up, and heck, you grew up in Michigan. This is nothing.
Yeah, this is. I enjoy this. It's you know, it's better than Atlanta. Atlanta was hot, and you know, we were obviously a little delay here, and you know, this is kind of the weather we've had the first month, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal for us.
Well, Derek, you got off to a real nice start. You guys are in first place. What is your role, not only as the number one, but the guy that has to mentor this staff and the veteran guy?
Well, yeah, it's you know, I've learned as much from our younger guys than maybe they've learned from me. You know, the biggest thing I try to talk about is there's only one thing you can control, and that's pitching the ball every 5 days. And so, you know, we've talked about, you know, maybe altering some things as far as workouts go, but you got to find a way to stay healthy, and you can only you know, that's a lot of time in the gym and taking care of your body.
Oh, you said you learned something from them, a younger guy, like what?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Well, you should have said it.
How to play cards.
There you go. All right.
Maybe some new music. But no, it's been a lot of fun.
You know, it's an interesting team. You come over and you know all about it. You know, last year this was a team that started the season so well, and then a number of guys got injured, and really only 5 games back even on September the 1st, despite all the struggles. But it didn't end up, you know, being the kind of year they had hoped for. Are you surprised at the kind of start the team has gotten off to?
Not at all. You know, I think my first day here, they really emphasize on, you know, we're not here to you know, just compete. We're here to win. And, you know, I look at their season and my season, we're pretty much the same. You know, kind of struggled in September, and, you know, it was kind of a perfect fit because we both wanted to get back to playing the way we should. And but all in all, it's worked out really good. But as you well know, we got a long way to go.
Derek, what's the key? I mean, I know it's early, but what is the one thing that you guys need to do to compete for the American League Central?
We have to be able to pitch at the starting rotation spot. You know, I think you look at Ubaldo and myself, there's been a lot of you know, talk about can we get back to pitching the way, you know, we should, and so far we've done a good job, but we have to be able to pitch, and that's you know, so far I think that's one of the main reasons why we are in first.
Derek, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. And just to remind you, as a Michigan guy, Urban Meyer's the coach at Ohio State now.
Yeah, I know. It's I haven't found too many Michigan fans here in Ohio.
Derek, thanks for the time. All the best.
Yep.
Oh, he had to dodge that. It came down there. Okay. Thanks so much, Derek.
You got it.
Well, what a start he's off to. And last year, 17-game loser. And that fade at the end of the year, of course, by the Braves when it was Albert Pujols' St. Louis Cardinals that made that dramatic stretch run to catch him.
Yeah, but you talk about a guy that's durable, that's built to give you innings, that's had success, a World Series winner. None better than Derek Lowe.
That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Albert Pujols. 10-pitch inning for Gomez. Indians right back to the plate, down a run. LA, proud to support youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. In their strength, Casey Kochman to be followed by Aaron Cunningham and Michael Brantley against Dan Haren. Haren had shut him out through the front three on only one hit, and that was the first batter of the game. There's a tapper down to first, and quick work of Kochman. From our MLB Network studios, it's game break time. Here's Matt Vesturgeon.
Hey, Tommy, it got worse for Freddie Garcia when last we looked in. This is the knockout blow. Miguel Cabrera with 2 out and runners in scoring position, making it 6-1 Detroit early. Garcia unable to complete 2. Chance of Andy Pettitte hurt in the Bronx. Back to you guys.
Andy Pettitte, of course, deciding very, very late in spring training that he was going to come back after not pitching all of last year.
Well, and in light of the Yankees losing Michael Pineda for the entire year, they were counting on him heavily.
The shortstop eyeball to the outfield grass. 2 out. You talk about that American League East. All 5 teams within 3.5 games of first. And through the middle of the week, the 4 teams that were non-Boston Red Sox teams were all at 10-7. So, as advertised, it's been a very good division. A lot of people thought that Toronto would be vastly improved from a year ago. I'm not sure many people were buying into Baltimore, but Buck Showalter has that team playing pretty good baseball.
They are playing well. You know, it's just one of those things, though. It's the beginning of the year. We get excited about some teams. We get down on others.
So the normal patient hitters, 6 pitches in a 1-2-3-5 for Haren. Every season starts at Dick's, and by Michelin, a better way forward. Top of the 6th inning after a 2.5-hour rain delay to get this one started. And Jenmar Gomez already a career high 6 strikeouts. Got Trout, Pujols, Hunter, Trumbo, and Borges twice.
And really, he's stayed away from the barrel of the bat outside of Tory Hunter hitting that home run. These guys really haven't driven the ball that well. That run in the first inning, a walk, and then Albert Pujols, a broken bat hit over the shortstop's head, and Kendrys Morales, a base hit in the infield. Gomez doing a real nice job today. There's Tory.
Big shift put on defensively for Morales. And he hits right into it. That's the shortstop fielding that ball. Tory Hunter struck out his first time, but not the second time, leading off the fourth inning.
It gets a fastball away and drives it. We talked about it being cold today and the ball not carrying all that well. So him getting it out to right field, he really got a hold of that thing.
You know, all the talk about Albert Pujols. Tory Hunter is certainly a player who understands what Pujols is going through. Really, for that matter, the same thing applies to Vernon Wells, where you spend your entire career with one organization, one major league team, same way to go to the ballpark, same clubhouse, knowing your way around the town, knowing all the people you need to know, et cetera, et cetera. And then all of a sudden, after 9, 10, 11 years, you're in a completely different environment. And that's what happened, of course, for Hunter after he left all those years in Minnesota. Vernon Wells all those years in Toronto. But, of course, the most significant difference among those three players, Hunter and Wells did not change leagues.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. They didn't change leagues, and they also weren't expected to come to the franchise and just be the guy. Now, with all due respect to Tory Hunter and Vernon Wells, they are very good players. Albert Pujols, coming into this year, arguably the best player in the game. There's a significant difference there. Also, when you're talking about coming over to a new league, you know, forget having to learn the pitchers, but you're talking about the comfort level isn't there. And what I mean by that, you go to a city like Cleveland now, maybe you've been here once or twice if you're Albert Pujols, but there's a routine that guys that have been coming here for 10 or 11 years have. There's the certain places they eat. They know, you know, where the entrance is to the park. All these things, it sounds ridiculous, but it absolutely has an impact on how you play the game.
Two down, none on. Here's Trumbo, who is popped to the shortstop and struck out. 2-1 game. Angels got a run in the first, a Tory Hunter home run in the fourth, and then a 2-out single by Jack Hanahan cut the lead in half in the bottom of that fourth inning. And here we are with 2 outs and none on in the sixth. Well, that is a different Genmar Gomez than the one Cleveland fans saw in the past. 2-0 pitch. More times than not, he'd have been throwing fastball and somebody might have whacked it somewhere pretty hard. He's dropping 2-0 curveballs, 2-0 sliders in for strikes. Well, Eric, are you thinking he threw me a breaking ball 2-0? He's going to throw it 3-1?
I'm sitting on a fastball. You know, if he throws a breaking ball, you just tip your hat. But if I'm hitting up there, I got to sit on a fastball.
Well, he took a fastball.
And you see, this is the other thing. Just because it's a strike as a hitter, that doesn't mean you swing at it. And that pitch is a nasty pitch. Now this is where you got to start doing some guessing. 3-2, it's where you go back. Will he throw me the breaking ball? Is it a fastball? As a hitter, though, you always look fastball.
I think that's what Mickey Hatcher was saying a little bit earlier. He said the counts that have killed us are the counts where we ought to be killing them. Hitters' counts. And pitches off the outside corner, 2-0 or 3-1, and you're chasing, breaking bats, hitting ground balls.
Well, and that's one of the things. When you are struggling, you try to make things happen. You try to get 3 hits in 1 at-bat. You just can't do that.
Well, Trumbo takes a walk. Second of the day given up by Gomez. And the inning will continue for the shortstop Eric Ibar. Ibar won a Gold Glove for the first time in his career last season. And that one hooked into right field, a base hit. Getting to the ball quickly and right is Cunningham, preventing Trumbo from advancing first to third. So a 2-out rally with a walk and a hit. Here comes Wilson. Take a peek ahead of next week. Fox Saturday Baseball will bring you Ryan Braun and the Brewers going out west to take on Buster Posey and the Giants. Some will see the White Sox against the Tigers, others the Diamondbacks and the Mets. Fox Saturday Baseball returns next week, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Joe Smith, coming off an outstanding 2011 season, begins to throw. First action we've seen in either bullpen today.
There's some late arrivals to the game. Good seats out there. Got a whole flock of birds in here now.
You know, there have been, so many studies done on this kind of stuff, and people look at you like you're crazy until you go to enough of these ballparks. Eric, you've seen it. Where you have scheduled start times of games, week after week, summer after summer, or winter after winter, for those that are hanging around. And they know when it's pretty much feeding time in these ballparks. A lot of stuff is left behind. See at Wrigley Field all the time in their strike. I mean, it's no accident that all of a sudden they showed up here and right around roughly this time in the afternoon. They'll blow out of here in a little while, and then they'll be back.
Yeah, they didn't get the word from the umpires about the 2-hour rain delay.
No. Oh, and 2 the count on Bobby Wilson. Short hop, pickup down to third by Hanahan, and that's that. Still a 1-run game with the Angels in front. Chris Myers. Looking forward to seeing you later tonight. NASCAR on Fox. Time to take a look at our Jeep game summary. Tory Hunter made it a 2-0 game with a home run in the 4th inning. Dan Haren shut him out on one hit through the front 3. They got a run on a couple of hits in the 4th inning, but Haren came right back with a 6-pitch 5th. And Genmar Gomez right at 100 pitches in the game has fanned a career high 7. It's the kind of game that the Indians have won and the Angels have lost for nearly a month of this season. Popped up to Trumbo, and Jason Kipnis retired to begin the 6th inning. It really is amazing. You know, you look at these teams, and they've played so many close games to start this year. Look at the Indians. A Major League best, perfect. 6-0 in 1-run games. For the Angels, flip that number around.
Yeah, 0-6, and they just can't seem to get a break. And, you know, then everybody wants to blame their bullpen. Oh, they can't hold leads. But again, I go back to the offense. They should be scoring more runs. Do that, then the bullpen doesn't have to be so fine.
Of course, last year the Indians got off to the great start. They set a franchise record with 18 wins in the month of April. Many of those dramatic come from behind wins. And last night was their first quote-unquote walk-off win here in 2012. Not only have the Angels been bad in 1-run games, they have been bad in close games, period. Their pitching has been so good, their starting pitching, as Eric and I have talked about already. But look at this. Games decided by 2 runs, 0-8. 3 runs or less. Combined now, 6-14. But the way Haren's going right now, he's going to be tough to beat.
Well, as a hitter, there's not anything you can do with that pitch. Got to take it. Hope the umpire doesn't give Haren the call. But it's that fastball that runs back over the plate to the left-handed hitter. It's one Greg Maddux made famous. 2-seamer, you start right at the left-hander's hip, and he freezes.
All right, now Hafner, who is fly to center, hit the ball very hard his last time up. He lined out to left field.
And Bobby Wilson does a nice job of scooping that. You see Hafner offers it. That's that split finger that, again, just dives out of the zone. As a hitter, the arm action is the same. Where it's coming in, it looks like it's going to be hittable at eye level, and then it just drops out of the zone.
Do it again, and this time Hafner lays off of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Two runs, 5 hits, 6 men left on base for the Angels. 1 run, 3 hits, an error, and 3 left for the Tribe. Getting over. We're back to Cleveland after a word from your local Fox station. And as the Angels come to bat with a 2-1 lead here in the top half of the 7th inning, Maniac is going to hand the ball to a right-hander who's been very dependable and very reliable for him, and that's right-hander Joe Smith.
Hey, look at that. You know, this year off to a nice start. Last year in 71 games, and in 60 of those 71 appearances, scoreless. Just not a lot of fun to hit against.
Well, they believe, the Indians believe, that this bullpen is a major strength of this club. I mean, whether you're talking about Joe Smith, Tony Sipp, Vinny Pistano was lights out here last night. Their closer, Chris Perez, and the rest of the group. They really believe if they're in a tight game, they're going to win a lot of games. Borges thrown out by Hanahan to begin the top of the 7th inning.
Well, they are. You know, the back end of the bullpen, very good. And as Derek Lowe talked about earlier in the game, that, you know, the starters, that's going to be the key for them. Can Derek Lowe throw like he's capable of throwing? Can Ubaldo Jimenez be the guy that they acquired from the Rockies and thought that he was going to be the dominant guy? Masterson threw a nice ball game last night.
Sure did.
Gomez today, been very good.
Smith, a native Buckeye, grew up down in the southern part of the state outside of Cincinnati. That sidearm delivery. First taste of major league action. He had a couple of really nice years with the New York Mets. Back-to-back games, 54 games one year, 82 games the next year. That one pounded in the ground, 2 away. And for Mike Trout, just brought up late last night, before the game today, hitless in his first 4 at-bats.
Yeah, well, if anything in that at-bat, at least he saw some pitches. And he saw 4 in that at-bat, and his previous 3 at-bats combined just saw 7 pitches. Again, that's anxiousness, adrenaline, wanting to do stuff.
Strike one to Howie Kendrick. Kendrick's been on a couple of times today. Walked, scored a run. That was in the first inning as an infield hit, and is grounded out to Cabrera. Funny swing there.
Now, it's not funny if you're the one swinging the bat there. I mean, that thing just, you turn into a corkscrew. That ball just, it starts off on the inner half of the plate. You think as a hitter you're going to get to it. It keeps bearing in, and then you're like, oh, abort.
Well, as a reminder for the Angels fans out west, tune in tomorrow. They'll have the final game of this series for you on Fox Sports West. Coverage will get underway at 9:30 in the morning Pacific time. So, Mr. Karros, you'll be back in Southern California and bright and early tomorrow morning.
I'll be in front of the tube.
Dialed in with the kids, hanging out.
Yeah.
Very nice. Boy, that one just chewed him up. Now Smith finds a handle. That's pretty impressive 7th inning right there by Smith. They stand and stretch. Santana to start things with the Indians down a run. and by the makers of Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball. First pitch breaking ball to Santana as we open the last of the 7th inning in chilly Cleveland, Ohio. And the Angels with a 2-1 lead thanks to the work of that man, Dan Haren. 85 pitches in the game so far. And that's through 6. Weaver last night had thrown 115. They had to go to the bullpen at the end of 6. Haren, of course, his last 3 starts. The bullpen has let him get away. And this one in the air, short right. And Hunter comes in to make the play, 1 out. Well, now it's time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. Just as the Angels are counting on Dan Haren, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results.
I see Danny Haren doing it all with an assortment of pitches, a fastball, a forkball, really keeping these Indian hitters off balance. And when he did get in trouble in the 1st and the 4th, he was able to get out of it.
Those are foolproof results. Just for Men Auto Stop.
And I talk about him getting into trouble in both those innings, the 1st and the 4th. The Indians had a runner on second base with nobody out. Unable to get him in.
You all right over there, Hollywood? You look like you're starting to get a little chilly.
No, I'm enjoying this.
All right.
You know, I don't have the sweater on, of course, or the camel jacket. Cashmere jacket, my bad.
Whatever. It's made out of hemp. There's a ground ball to second, and there are 2 away in the inning. Look at those folks. We were dressed that way when the Brown season came to an end. Two down for Shelley Duncan, who's grounded to short and struck out. First pitch hacking this time, and he's tardy. Strike 1. Of course, the Indians, I don't know if you'd call it a surprise or not, but a couple of weeks ago, they signed 38-year-old Johnny Damon to a 1-year contract. Damon is 277 hits shy of 3,000 his career. Last year with Tampa Bay, and had a nice year. Certainly durable. Played in 150 games, knocked in 73 runs. Now he is in Arizona at extended spring, and there's a good chance sometime next week he's with a major league club.
Well, and remember, when he does arrive, he's not going to be a DH. I mean, that's Travis Hafner's spot. And he's going to have to play some outfield. He's going to have to play left field. That could mean less time, maybe even a platoon situation for Duncan.
You know, Manny Acton told us about the phone conversations he has had regularly with Johnny Damon. He said, you know, we could be looking at a schedule and maybe trying to get a feel. We're not sure yet of when he's going to come back. He said, but Damon can tell you every pitcher that's pitching against the Indians looking ahead to the next 7 to 10 days. Every one of them.
He's trying to figure out what day he's going to be well.
That's right.
You know, maybe one day we're facing a tough lefty. I need to meet the guys and get acclimated to the clubhouse. Next day, maybe a right-hander that I can hit. I'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things about Johnny Damon, always prepared, hard-nosed guy. I think he'll add a lot to this Indian ball club.
Well, you know what? Why not is the question. I mean, why wouldn't you give it a try? I think they know what they have. Obviously, they need Chu to come back healthy. He's been bothered lately by a tender hamstring, and they don't want to take the chance in this weather of re-aggravating that injury, such an integral part of this team offensively. Brantley, you got young players out there in center field. You're growing with him. I don't know if you're growing with Cunningham and Duncan and some of the guys they've been forced to play in the corner outfield spot. So why not? And there's always that chance that maybe Brady Sizemore comes back in July after back surgery.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the risk reward absolutely says sign Damon and give him a shot. No question.
Base hit into left field. Looked like that ball got by Trumbo closer to his body than where he dove for the ball. Of course, he's learning that new position.
Well, he's learning a new position. He hasn't been there in a while. Look, he's not going to confuse anybody with one of the great third basemen. And the ideal position for him is first base. The bottom line is he's got to be in this lineup every single day because of his bat.
Ball one to Casey Kochman. You know, it's hard to believe that there have only been 8 balls that he has touched as a third baseman in his starts. Now, granted, we're only talking about making your 5th start down at third. But even through 4 games, he's had 8 balls hit to him. He's committed 3 errors, 2 fielding, 1 throwing. And 2 of the balls of the 8 that were hit to him were pop-ups.
Well, and just as you can go into a slump or hitting can become mental, fielding can also be the very same thing. When you're out there in the field, you don't feel comfortable. You get your feet crossed up. You're not moving smoothly through the ball. You start thinking, okay, this ball's hit to me. Now I've got some time. I've got to make a good throw. All those sort of things, just as up at the plate can paralyze you, the same thing can happen out there defensively.
Rio pitch taken for a strike. Haren has eclipsed the 100 pitch mark in a game. Tying run at first. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. And there are 2 out. And there's ball 4. The question is, how long do you stay with Haren? I mean, he's only at 102 pitches. That's not a big deal. But do you start to get a little gun shy with at least the way the first 3.5 weeks have gone this season? Now, there's nobody warming up, and that's why I say, do you get a little gun shy if you're Mike Scioscia?
Well, right now you figure if you're going to go down with somebody, are you going to go down with Dan Haren, or are you going to go down with somebody out there in the pen? And just right now, that pen is not hot. So if I'm managing right now, look at Dan Haren, it's your ball game.
See already the 6 blown saves. In fact, they've already changed closers. Scott Downs is now taking over the save opportunity. Well, obviously in a 2-1 game, there hadn't been much 2-out hitting or hitting with runners in scoring position. Indians 1 for 7. That one was a 2-out hit by Hanahan to knock in their only run. And after a walk, first pitch hacking is Cunningham. And pops up. Albert will lead off the 8th. This team leads 2-1. Albert Pujols to lead off the Angels' 8th inning. Albert 1 for 3 at a broken bat single back in the first inning. Has since grounded to short and struck out. And there's a broken bat roller to the shortstop. We're watching Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Chevrolet. Pujols now at 84 at bats to begin this year without a home run.
I mean, it almost is to a point that you just want to give Albert a break as far as if you're managing, maybe give him a day off. Maybe let him sit, relax, watch a ball game. Because right now as a hitter, he's fighting it. He's become mortal. He's a guy that, look, he wants to do well. He's up there pressing it. Just let him slow things down.
Were you able to have that from time to time and a benefit for you?
It absolutely benefited me, but I fought it like you would not believe. With Davey Johnson once in a while, Dusty Baker, Tommy, they give me a day off and I am ticked off. I'm in the office complaining. But looking back on it, it's the best thing ever for me. Because you sit down, you don't have, and now I'm talking about a day off. I'm talking about a day off. I'm not talking about a day off and then go pinch hit in the 9th inning with the game on the line.
And then you have to come in because it's a tie game and play for the next.
That's not it. Yeah, that's not a day off. That's not a day off. Just sit back, just watch the game, just relax. Why not try it? Why not?
Tory Hunter, right now, his big crack of the bat. The homer to right field in the 4th inning is the difference in the game. Indians have a top of the order. When they come to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning, will it still be Dan Haren? It doesn't appear as though anyone's getting warmed up in this struggling Angels bullpen. Haren 15 complete games in his major league career, and he may get a chance to finish what he started here today. What's interesting about this Angels start at 6 up and 14 down, that's an identical record from the club that won their only World Series title, their start after 20 games back in 2002.
Well, and remember that year also, at one point the Angels were 10.5 back. Now granted, they were a wild card winner, and heck, this year you've got an extra wild card, so you got an extra spot.
Here we go, top of the order, the bottom of the 8th of a 1-run game. Ray is over. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Dan Haren climbs the hill for the last of the 8th inning. Alberto Callaspo takes over for Trumbo down at third base defensively. And clearly this game is riding on the right arm. Win or lose on Dan Haren. Haren has only allowed 4 hits. The 1 run that came back in the 4th inning. He's fanned 5 and walked 2. One of the hits he allowed, Michael Brantley doubled to left field leading off the 1st inning. Just getting up now, beginning to throw, LaTroy Hawkins. Brought him in during the offseason. That ball is in the air, left center field. Trout there. That's a big out to start the 8th inning. Jason Kipnis has fly to left, single to right center, scored, and popped to third. Strike 1. Well, he fouled that one off his foot. He'll try and walk out the pain. And we'll take a look at our M-game box score brought to you by Lexus. Pretty quiet against Haren here today.
Yeah, unlike last night for the Indians where everybody was contributing. You looked up and down that lineup and every player had a hit. And what this doesn't show as well is 2 times in the 1st and the 4th, the Indians had a runner at second base with nobody out, unable to score. Just not feeling good in this weather.
Pagadone and the closer just in case they take the lead, although Chris Perez is warming up in a sweatshirt right now.
Yeah, you don't see that often, do you?
But of course he'll peel that thing off and get serious should the Indians put a man on. Perez blew his first save chance of the season on opening day and has been 7 for 7 ever since. 2-2 to Kipnis. Rung up is Kipnis for strike 3. 6th of the game for Dan Haren.
Down right at the knees. Colbreth calling it a strike. Great pitcher's pitch right there. Kipnis didn't like it.
The next pitch for Haren will match his season high of 115, which came in his last time out against Baltimore. His career high back in June of 2010 for Arizona. 126 pitches in a game against the Dodgers. Cabrera 0 for 2 came in, as we mentioned earlier, with his 8-game hitting streak. Well, Haren appears to have it all working here in the 8th.
We see Cabrera just off balance, out in front, other one too early.
Cabrera 25 home runs a season ago. He has 2 this year. The Indians have gone 403 plate appearances since their last home run. That's spanning nearly 10 full games. Hitting over. 1, 2, 3 for Haren. We move to the 9th. Still a 1-run game. Down there, Eric Karros. It appears as though the day at 119 pitches is over for Dan Haren. We'll have to wait and see for sure, but it certainly looks that way.
Yeah, he's very jovial right now, talking to all the guys. And we saw Downs up, who is now the closer for the Angels. You see the lefty Scott Downs. You know, I guess the thinking, you know, Mike Scioscia is, Dan Haren's pitched a great ball game, giving him almost 120 pitches, and look, Scott Downs is my closer now. And this is a closer situation.
Well, meanwhile, the Indians have a new pitcher after 2 flawless innings of work out of the bullpen by Joe Smith. Nick Hagedorn pitching in his 4th game, left-handed. And Alberto Callaspo bats for the first time since taking over for Trumbo at third base. And he takes care of Callaspo, 1 away.
Well, it's just a hard fastball up and out of the zone. Callaspo doesn't have much of a chance. The Maniac to telling us he's got a live arm. Got some good stuff. As you mentioned, with Perez going down, he becomes the option.
My bar, first pitch, Hacken making it easy. 2 out. The MLB Fan Cave is back, and this year 9 cave dwellers are competing to remain in the cave until the final pitch of the World Series. Some of baseball's biggest stars have dropped by. Pablo Sandoval there recently hanging out in New York. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. Eric Karros will be stopping by, and I'll be in New York doing a game in a few weeks from now. Looking forward to that.
I will be in New York next week. Diamondbacks, Mets.
Nice.
I don't think I'm going to catch you in New York a few weeks after that, though, Tommy.
Shows you the kind of pull I have around Fox. I said, hey, why don't you bring Karros in for these 2 games with me in New York and Boston? No.
It's a high travel expense.
He wants to be able to.
I got the Dodgers out there. You got the Dodgers playing well.
What's gas now? About $5.50 a gallon. So it's going to cost you almost as much to drive to wherever it is you're going in Southern California. 1-1 pitch. Lowe, 2-1.
Well, the Angels hoping to win their first 1-run ball game. As we noted earlier, 0-6 so far this year. I mean, so important for this ball club right now, too. Just to feel good about themselves.
In the air, left center field. Well, with that in mind, they're going to hand the ball, we believe, to Downs, who had 1 save all of last year. Down in their bullpen. And then no longer would it be Jordan Walden as their closer. Their save opportunities now are being given to left-hander Scott Downs, and he's in to try and convert this 1-run lead to a 1-run victory. You have a left-handed batting Travis Hafner. You have a right-handed batter. Santana officially a switch hitter, bat from the right side. And then Hanahan. The 9th inning is underway. 0-6 in one-run games this year. The Angels, they've lost, in fact, their last 11 one-run games going back to last season. Downs had 1 save last year. And he's going to get a very important first down here in the 9th. His career high is 9.
Well, the bottom line, that Downs is the closer now. You know, Mike Scioscia made that move the other night. And what does it say about having confidence in your closer if you have a save situation? It's a one-run ball game. Dan Haren has thrown almost 120 pitches, and you don't go to him. You got to get this guy feeling good about himself. I mean, this is what Mike Scioscia has to work with. He goes to Downs.
Ball 1 on Carlos Santana. Hanahan next. I don't know. I would play the devil's advocate on that one. My team has had some tough losses this year. If I had, you know, the old days, Percival, Francisco Rodriguez, you know, somebody like that down there, all right. But if the bullpen and a guy who's an unproven closer gives it up today, it's only April. I understand that. That's why Mike Scioscia's a great manager, and I'm sitting up here next to you, and will never be a manager.
But the thing is, though, this is what you've got, and you've got to find out if guys can do it or they can't do it. And if Downs can't do it, then you've got issues. Then you've got to go out, whether it's Jerry DiPoto's got to go out and find somebody, whether you've got to, you know, go back to Walden and just live and die with them. Mm-hmm. You've got to find some answers in April and May. If you're looking for answers still come August, that's when you know you're in trouble.
Well, Downs, both of his blown saves this year have come in relief of Dan Haren. Woody Haren had left 3 starts with a lead to watch him slip away. Bring in 2 on Santana. Hanahan next. A straight left-handed batter. Now that is the one thing clearly working in Downs' favor here in this night. Lefty Hafner, switch hitter Santana, lefty Hanahan. Struck him out, so the first 2 gone here in the Cleveland 9th inning. 1 more out to go.
This is a fastball away. You see Santana getting pull happy, wanting to tie this ball game up with just 1 swing of the bat. Down, stays away from him, gets the big strikeout. Look at that number. You know, we talk about this year 0-6 in one-run ball games. Go back to last year, they have lost their last 11 one-run ball games.
Hanahan 1 of 3, knocked in the only Cleveland run, a single to right off Haren in the 4th. Two and 0. Not sure Hanahan agreed with that. That looked low.
Yeah, if the guy's down 2-0 in the count, that pitch has got to be a good part of the plate. Fielding Colbert expanded the zone a bit.
Hanahan, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Downs trying to nail it down. A strike away, an out away, taking over the closer's duties now. This ought to do it. So Mike Scioscia, there's a reason why he's the longest tenured skipper in the league. He gives the ball in a 1-run game to Downs, who closes it out with a 1-2-3 ninth inning, and the Angels get their 7th win in 21 games. Dan Haren gets his first win of this 2012 year. And time now for the Burger King smooth play of the day. It proved to be the winning hit in this game.
Yeah, Tory Hunter gets a hold of one, drives one to right field in the elements today. Cole, but Tory Hunter, he's been the one constant this entire year here in Mike Trumbo for the Angel offense. Just enough today. Again, they didn't hit the ball that well, but they scored enough, and they kept the Indians at bay. Here's Tory.
That's a happier group tonight with a rubber game of the series tomorrow, and many of you out west can watch it on Fox Sports West. Tonight on Fox, NASCAR from Richmond. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's a little less than an hour from now. Fox Saturday Baseball next week. The Diamondbacks take on the Mets. Others will see the Tigers and the White Sox. Coverage begins 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. For more information on today's game and the latest in Major League Baseball, log on to foxsports.com on MSN, the world's favorite sports site. Carol Langley McDermott, our producer. Jonathan Evans, our director. And for our entire Fox crew, for Eric Karros, I'm Tom Brenneman. So long from Cleveland, Ohio. You've been watching Fox Sports, exclusive home to the 2012 NLCS and World Series.